Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. And today's topic, more pro-Palestinian protesting, colleges, etc., American Black generation injustices. So what? Yes, yes. You have more personnel that have more sympathy, well, especially at the beginning part, of more about pro-Palestinian protesting at higher numbers of colleges and streets and facilities and things like that than generations of black pain. Yes, yes, yes. And so the thing about it is, again, I do this as a timepiece purpose. Timepiece purpose. See, again, this system, they already know that there are multi millions of personnel within higher sectionality within Americanism that definitely have extreme super short-term memory. You'll have personnel that are able to focus on chewing some gum, then they'll sit there and remember about quite a number of other things. Well, especially dealing with American blacks, right? It's like, oh well then. And so there are personnel who know they are. They be like, what are you trying to say then? Because don't you think that Palestine or Palestinians should be free? I'm not playing that deflectionary, disgusting tactic. Not doing that. That stuff's to seize upon personnel that don't know the little games and stuff like that. See, they don't like personnel that are able to research at least a little bit. They don't like people who sit there and know a piece of history. They don't like personnel that sit there and say, "Wait, no, 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 no. I know, and I observe right through their little tactic." They don't like that, especially among numbers of American blacks. They don't like American blacks that know numbers of the games, numbers of those tactics, right? Let me read you a couple of things before I get into some of the other things I want to show you, because I noticed that various times, or most of the time, these kind of things I'm gonna talk about really wasn't even talked about, right? It was just the emotional response, right? That's what people will get, the emotionary response, right? On that. But again, right? Generational black pain. So multi millions of American blacks are supposed to be understanding and sympathetic to the pro-Palestinian Arab protesting allies, but not care about generational black pain. Do you know how that sounds? Let's see what some puppets say about that. I thought it was dumb. Maybe you're right. Yes, even the puppets know how dumb that sounds. Because what is right now is what is right now. Today is May the 5th, 2024. Cinco de Mayo. I'm not going to go into that, right? Since for the people who don't know, Cinco de Mayo is not even celebrated even across that border in most places across the border. It's celebrated more within America than they celebrate across that border. But that's a whole different old topic in itself, right? But get into this particular topic. Let me read you something on this. Let me read you something. Israeli Palestinian conflict. The Israeli Palestinian conflict is a ongoing military and political conflict about land and self-determination within the territory of the former mandatory Palestine. Palestine. Key aspects of the conflict include the Israeli occupation of the West Bank and Gaza Strip, the status of Jerusalem, Israeli settlements, border security, water rights. You get the point. Different things like that, right? Now, but again, American blacks are supposed to be sitting there paying attention to what's going on over there. So let me see. So American blacks by the millions are supposed to be concerned about that way over there. That ain't nothing, even piece of newness, right? Way over there, going across the Atlantic Ocean, going through what Portugal and Spain and France, and going all the way through Greece and going through Italy, going all around, the historical Anatolia, the Turkey, and all stuff, all the way around, going through Lebanon, all the way go around, all the way going down. And American blacks supposed to be worried about that. Are you crazy? There are personnel that really do think that millions of American blacks are dumb. Now, unfortunately, there are quite a number of gullible ones, especially modern day, that don't see the insultingness that is showcased how people think that American blacks, by the millions, are supposed to be concerned about something way the hell over there. Where with all these pro-Palestinian personnel through the centuries? Going while American blacks were going through and still are going through black pain. Where's all these pro-Palestinian Arabs and their allies demanding from political personnel that, hey, we demand that you sit there and pass, just like you did anti-Asian law. We want you to pass. We demand you to pass an anti-American black law. Now, again, I'm not talking about sellout gullibles of American blacks, modern day or gullibles. I'm not talking about them. So I make this point of how insulting it is toward the numbers of American blacks that the ancestors of American blacks, especially, that the primary way of trying to sit there and get some kind of correction of injustices was to march. American blacks have marched more than any other culture in America to trying to get racism equality, to try to be treated as a citizen. Nobody else comes close to American blacks doing that over generations and centuries. But continuing, the 1948 Palestine War was fought in the territory of what had been, at the start of the war, British-ruled Mandatory Palestine. During the war, the British withdrew from Palestine. Zionist forces conquering territory and established the state of Israel. And over 700,000 Palestinians fled, Palestinian Arabs fled or were expelled. It was the first war of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the broader Arab-Israeli conflict. And you got people talking about what's going on right now in 2024 of the rehashed version of the current Israeli conflict. And they think, again, American blacks supposed to be paying attention to that. Get out of here with that bull. Right? Have sympathy for the American blacks first. Numbers of Palestinian Arabs, the ones who know I'm talking about. Because like any other culture background, there are a few good ones and stuff like that. They're like, yeah, no, certain things were wrong. The George Floyd, Premier Rice, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, the Dylan Roof, racial terrorists did that to the church and stuff like that. I mean, the list goes on, right? But again, the Palestinian Arabs make up around about a tenth or less than a tenth of percent in the whole demographics of America. They make up only less than about a tenth or less than a tenth of a percent. And American blacks make up around about 12 to 13%, because you can have other personnel from some other place, wherever it is, that can slide under African or African American, wherever it is. So I would think that's my thought pattern, maybe 12 to 13%. So 12 to 13% in general, American blacks, compared to a tenth less than 10% of Palestinian Arabs. You see what's wrong with that picture? So in 1948, they was talking about one some of the first war of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And you got people running around that were even born, run around different kind of places and different things like that, talking about free Palestine and the Allah singing the same nonsensical song, stuff like that. They ain't talking about American blacks, are they? When American blacks continue to go through generational black pain, do you see those same people demanding again, political personnel, entities, do something for about American blacks, get them reparations right? We need to more free, we need to free more American black males that have been locked up and stuff like that more, which is a whole different topic in itself, right? Because now they're getting what the cannabis thing situated where it's like, oh, we got to make that legalized more and more and more and more. And how many American black males have been locked up and stuff like that for that? And now you got personnel within various part of predominant culture sitting there laughing because they're making the same amount of damn money, making big time money off of something that was destroyed. However many American blacks being removed from homes and houses for them doing utilizing certain pieces or maybe selling some pieces of cannabis, whatever you want to call it, et cetera, locked up left and right. But now you got people sitting there utilizing that, right? Left and getting, going buck crazy and stuff like that. Recreational use, it's good for us and stuff like that. And you got numbers of personnel from predominant culture, et cetera, other personnel too, utilizing, making big time money off of what American black males have been locked up for so many times before. Ain't that an insult? Where's the Palestinian Arabs on that? And other personnel at? Nope. You see that yes, you see the insult. But see, they don't want 2% of American blacks to see these little disgusting tactics going on. However, the pro-Palestinian protesting, do their thing, right? But it's interesting because when American blacks do marching, oh my God, why don't they stop, complaining and stuff like that? Go to hell with that tactic, right? So it's always something about when American blacks are trying to demand they demand too much. When they're asking to, a lot of time, not demanding, asking to be treated, present time, as citizens. Oh, won't they just pull themselves up by the bootstrap? While at the same time, however many other cultures and backgrounds and stuff like that run from their homes and run from their certain islands and certain continents, the ones who are doing this, not because of certain opportunities, they're trying to do what they can. There it's opportunities, but it's more how many do this. It's running as fast as possible from the original place, not to sit there and try to do what they can in America and don't cause too much waves and no try to disrespect American blacks. But quite a number of them run from those different places and have the nerve to try to talk down about to American blacks when how many couldn't even sit there and not even worthy of holding the American black socks. Boy, they know that they lucky that more American blacks, about the millions, don't recognize that no other culture ever in this country compares to the American black pain and achievements and the racism, terrorism, and laws and policies and segregation, and still no reparations. See, they lucky none of the American blacks ain't checkmating people left and right on that. Continuing, Palestinian right of return. Ooh, that's a good one too. The Palestinian right of return is the political position of our principle that Palestinian refugees, both first generation refugees, they give a certain amount, 30, 50,000 people still alive as of, that's many years ago, but I'm sure it's more than that now. And their descendants, right, have a right to return and a right to properly to their property. They themselves are their forebearers left behind or were forced to leave in what is now Israel and the Palestinian territories. But American blacks act bad like American blacks ain't got no descendancy. American blacks just sit there and just popped up over nowhere. Right? Popped over nowhere. But other people can have they can be descendant from the ancestors, but American blacks are just supposed to say, yeah, we just pooped up over nowhere. You see the insult of that nonsense? But it's accepted by means of American blacks, modern day. So let me go ahead and show you a couple of videos because again, as a timepiece purpose, it's the insultiness of this, right? Because if American blacks did the kind of stuff they're doing now, all kind of racism, negativity, and N-words, this and N-words that all over the place. Let's go ahead and start playing what I want to go ahead and play. All right, give me 1 second.
You may hear the cheering there behind me. Protests like this have been popping up all across the country. Locally, they have been peaceful. Elsewhere, not so much. In New York, police arresting scores of students amid protests over Gaza. Across the country, students camping out on campus, demanding universities cut ties with Israel. A similar scene here, tents popping up at Tufts and MIT. And at Emerson, tents line this public alley. The firestorm pitting free speech against campus safety. Jewish students in New York saying they feel unsafe.
Jewish students walking through a campus, are being told that, every day will be October 7th.
There's no hate or animosity towards any Jewish student here.
Locally, pro-Gaza protesters say there is room for both protest and campus safety. The governor agrees. She spoke to WBUR today.
You gotta make sure that people feel safe and know that their rights are protected here.
But at the same time, when American blacks protest about unequalness and anti-black rhetoric going on, where's the protection for American blacks? And do you hear one of the personnel talking about, oh my goodness, some Jewish people, oh man, they feel unsafe. What? So you got personnel that don't want to talk about how numbers of what we would call some parts of Hebrew Israelites, how they're being treated in certain sections of Israel. They don't talk about how there are numbers of African personnel over in certain parts of Israel that are being treated like shit. They don't want to talk about that, right? You see how that goes? You see the discussing tactic? And then however personnel who know they are the ones who play this tactic have the nerve to call people anti-Semitic. And unfortunately, that type of scenario has continuously won mental switchery type tactics because they know that the ones who play this tactic, they know that numbers of personnel are not going to say Semitic. What do you mean anti-Semitic? What do you mean people hate Jewish people? What do you mean when you say Jewish? That means practicing Judaism. That's a religion. So how can they hate the person? But it's not a race, but it's ethnicity. But at the same time, you got personnel acting like it is a race and ethnicity. But at the same time, Jewishness is supposed to be by practicing the Judaism faith. But at the same time, you see how that game goes, and you sit there and say, wait a minute, Semitic are languages. And how numbers of languages came from Africa, Semitic languages, starting from Africa. So how can you be anti-Semitic? But see how that goes. But I don't want to go on all that. I don't want to go on all that. There are people out there, especially among American blacks, who are not checkmating certain personnel and calling that out because that's the way it goes, unfortunately. So again, this is insulting, right? Because American blacks who've been protesting, ancestors, American blacks have been protesting, and still the descendancy of numbers of ancestors still being treated as third-class citizens, fourth-class citizens, right? But at the same time, open hands are out for border breaking illegal immigrant personnel, and this is a nation of immigrants. What the hell are you talking about? What does that damn mean? Show me 200 years ago. Show me 1865. 1861, 1865 Civil War. Show me all these nation of immigrant parts. Show me the population of these various type of immigrants, right? Which then the three major populations were whites, whatever that's supposed to mean, because there are other people who slot in on the white banner. I don't want to talk about that, different topic. And you had American blacks and what we call Native Americans. Those are the three large populations in 1865. So what are these big time immigrant people they keep talking about? Another discussing tactic, right? And there are people who know, what the reality is. Let's continue with the next video. But these games that people played, boy.
Talking to the protesters who are now behind the police lines now, they told me in the last few minutes before police arrived.
I think this is UTA Austin.
Because of what happened last Wednesday, when there were arrests, there were several students who said they were injured. When there was a very strong police response that was called by UT Austin's president, Jay Hartzell, as well as the Texas governor, Greg Abbott. And since in those ensuing days, there had actually been a relatively quiet protest that was not as numerous. And talking to protesters, they told me that they actually were fearful that something like this would happen again. They were fearful of being expelled. They were fearful of being arrested.
But you still are choosing it because American blacks men are like, they need to be in school.
Taking it easy in these very tightly controlled, smaller protests until about an hour and a half ago when this suddenly happened. And by this, I mean there were people who set up tents for the first time in UT Austin, kind of following the model of what we've seen elsewhere at Columbia and other university campuses. And then immediately after setting up those tents, they formed this protective ring of protesters who linked arms surrounding this encampment. Over the last few days, I've seen nothing but peaceful protests. There were people here singing songs, having meetings, professors teaching about Middle East studies, etc. And then
teaching Middle Eastern studies and you're peaceful. You see how that go? A little minimizing.
So I cannot hear you. I believe we're having some communications issue. But that is what I'm seeing here. I'm going to keep an eye on if there's any sort of action. Actually, I do see the police now going in. They are using force to remove the physical barricade that looks like either a mattress or a table that protesters had erected to help them establish the circular perimeter around the encampments.
Let them go! Let them go!
The crowd around
Let them go!
They're chanting, "Let them go."
But if it was American blacks doing that, they'd be complaining. Boy, a piece of crap numbers of personnel playing this little tactic. And unfortunately, they know that millions of American blacks haven't read to this game yet. Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of personnel within various demographics and various backgrounds and cultures within America can't stand American black. Can't stand them, but they have sympathy for so many other people. What a disgustingness of this. And unfortunately, there's numbers of American blacks haven't got it through means of the skulls that this is truth on that. How many American blacks not a long time ago couldn't even go to colleges because they were segregated? Or there was a barrier that's like one or two that was allowed to go to certain colleges, right? What an insult.
Protesters earlier telling me and telling the people here, please do not leave, that they wanted anything that may happen between them and police to be captured on camera.
Talking about free Palestine. And here's the crazy part about it. You have some of those silly knucklehead type ass people. Hey, when I was relating those other words about the 1948 Palestinian War, when I talked about the the Israeli conflict starting quite a number of many generations ago, you ask them, hey, do you know anything about that? Tell me about that. They'd be looking at you like, what are you talking about? Now, you ask the question. So, what does the Palestine flag resemble? Or what does a Palestinian flag represent? The colors, the shapes, things like that. Won't you tell me about what do those stand for? And see how 80, 90, 95% of the people talking free Palestine don't know what the hell they talking about, don't know anything about Palestinian flags. And they surely won't know about anything about Afro-Palestinians. This is so disgusting and so insulting, but it's brilliant. because the system knows that millions of American blacks just sitting there and just tolerating blatant disrespect. I'm not talking about the very few. Not talking about very few American blacks who know what's going on. That's the key. That's the key part. Very few percentage points of American blacks know what's going on. Right? This is such an insult. Right? Free Palestine. They ain't saying anything about free American blacks. Free American blacks. Nope. Have pro-American black laws. Have pro-American black laws. Nope. Because they don't care. Just keep going.
Counter-protesters showed up here on campus clashing with demonstrators since this encampment was set up Thursday morning. We do want to take you to video of the counter-protests from earlier today. The standoff happening on Deering Meadow on campus. You can see well over 800 people with Israel supporting flags gathering on university grounds, shouting things out like "bring them home," referring to the hostages still being held by Hamas. We're told pro-Palestinian demonstrators and students formed a human chain around their encampment as the counter-protesters came near it. University police did create a barricade between both sides as the conflict went on for about an hour.
They were trying to infiltrate the encampment. The students managed to de-escalate it, which is great. It remained peaceful, and now we're back to just having our encampment for divestment.
And this comes as demonstrators.
So this is at Northwestern University.
4 days straight, demanding the university to
which you ain't gonna see a lot of American blacks there. Right? You ain't see a lot of American blacks at these type of big time university and stuff like that. But you ain't got a person that don't want to talk about that. The situation happened not too long ago. We had certain type of Asian personnel who know they are, and certain type of personnel within predominant culture who know they are from certain type of within Angloism, the ones who know they are, that was talking about how like, affirmative action, how to get, they got to get that strike down at the Harvard and University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Oh, the affirmative action is basically taken away from basic numbers of whites and numbers of Asian personnel because American blacks basically are so dumb, they're getting their handout. And you had millions of American blacks that didn't even understand how insulting it was. Very few of them. Because where was the pro-Palestinian numbers of personnel allies saying that is discriminatory to do that? Because American blacks have a history of sitting there having so much black pain put toward them in so many facilities, including however many colleges, including however numbers of Ivy League colleges, the ones who know they are, that did not want numbers of American blacks go to the colleges and are admitted, very rare ones, to go to those colleges, and how many of those students did not want them to go to those colleges, and et cetera, and some of the other different colleges. Where's all those pro-Palestinian protesting allies talking about that? Because they don't care. Right? Let's keep going.
2, 4, 6, 8. That's how we will liberate. Palestine will liberate.
Okay.
Palestine will liberate. We'll go back to 48. We'll go back to 48. Palestine will liberate.
This is a UTD, University of Texas, Dallas.
Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
And you ain't gonna have that many American blacks going to UTD in Richardson, Texas. Just like Emerson, just like Northwestern, just like at Harvard, et cetera, et cetera. You ain't gonna have that many American blacks. Not because they're not smart, you got your damn mind, right? So you go show this Asian population, the ones it applies to, and these Anglo population, and show where there's not one American black that has better damn scores. Get the hell out of here. Of course it is. But they know numbers of American blacks ain't gonna put that logical analysis on quite a number of people. And like I said, Palestinian Arabs, again, what is the demographics again? About a 10% to less than 10%. But we got people talking about Palestinian, free Palestine. But they want to talk about Afro-Palestinians. Well, this is a disgusting tactic, but it's brilliant.
Disclose, divest, we will not stop, we will not rest. Disclose, divest, we will not stop, we will not rest. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Gaza!
And this is, I'm telling you, something's right. Something's definitely going on. This is a plan, people. Look at, you got Palestinian flag. Again, I'm talking about American blacks. And again, UTD don't have that many American blacks too. So where's all these different people talking about? Well, where's it? What about the American blacks who's been here before we even existed in this country? And how many of us sit there and got over here because of American black civil rights fighting and stuff like that? Do we really even deserve to be over here? Because who have we fought like this in America? Nobody. And how many other cultures know what I'm talking about? They should be giving thanks and saluting American blacks. I'm not talking about the little nonsensical ones, but the ones they know say, hey, you know what? We thank the American blacks, man, for doing so much and allowing a lot of us to come over here. Nope, because numbers of American blacks are not demanding to show respect. This is embarrassing.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! From Dallas to NYC! From Dallas to NYC! We are all SJP! We are all SJP! From NYU to UTD! We are all SJP! From NYU to UTD!
Now look at this for a second. Colored waiting room. This was going on still after the 1948 Palestinian War. This was still going on after the state of Israel was formed. This is going on still after, however, countless number of Arab-Israeli wars, conflicts has been going on. This was still happening less than 100 years ago, by the way. See, this is insulting on that because they know, many don't even know true American black history. Don't give a damn if they don't know it. How many of them only sit there and see, bad versions or listen to bad versions of hip hop, or they think numbers of American black males are gangsterism and got to keep saying the N word left and right, which that N word needs to be destroyed and thrown in the trash cans of hell because it's not a true. Because what other culture says demonstrative words that have any equation of the N word? First of all, there's no equation of the N word in no other culture and background, etc. Terms like the categories, etc. There is no comparison. And so even 10% of something, show me the music that other people use certain words in a monstrous way toward their own people, and then you got American blacks using the same word. Do you see how that sounds? This is why I say again, American blacks only have half a generation to one generation left before the overall complete destruction of the American black culture modern day. Yes. And I'm going to show one last video. Actually, one. Well, let me show this one first. It's an interesting video as well. Fair use.
What is it exactly that you believe in? Because I'm from Palestine. I keep straight. I don't have a belief. What do you?
You already said he's from Palestine.
Hold on. Slow down. We not looking for no support from them. Because it is what they've been. Excuse me? So stop. Wait. I'm gonna listen to you. Now listen to you, alright? Now watch this. You said that they were the chosen people, right? Hold on. You said they were the chosen people, right? So that's past tense, right? Okay, so now if they were the chosen people, so then you tell me in the Quran who it says is the chosen people. Show me. Tell me. I'm asking you to show me, bro. Come on now. No, go to your Quran because you're not ready. You're not ready.
Oh, you see that woman in there in the middle? Not that one, but on the left side, that little woman started popping off her mouth a little bit. He ain't caring about American black women, by the way. Hint. Just saying.
You give me a verse from the Bible. I'm the cow itself. I can show you more verses. You need to stop. I can tell you I don't read your Quran. You don't read that God. I can show you more than one verse. That's number one. Okay? Listen. What does God mean? What does the word God mean? Tell me. The word God mean. What does it mean? What does goddamn mean? What does goddamn mean? It means damning the Quran. God is damning.
Making stuff up.
I'm gonna tell you what the fuck it means. Understand this? That's the English language number one. God's name.
Look at his face.
That's the name in the Hebrew. So if you hear me say goddamn or whatever, I can say goddamn all day till the cows come on. All right?
His face. Oh, they don't like that strongness. They hate it. They hate strong black male. They hate it.
Nothing. So watch your tone, boy. Now come on, you finish with me. Let's go. Finish up with me. Come on.
Woo, boy, they hate that. Now, just looking at him, could you tell he was from Palestine? Of course not. And the system knows that, right? You got what's the proverbial ambiguous type look people that could be from certain other Middle Eastern people, Middle Eastern cultures, which whatever that's supposed to mean, right? Because the people who know there was no such thing as the name Middle Eastern. That's a way late. We're going all that. But the whole point is, you see how that goes. He said, I'm from Palestine. Now, this was years ago on that clip, right? Before this situation happened, right? And it was almost like he wanted to utilize the N-word so bad. Not saying he would have, but he's like he sure wanted to use it. And some of the other personnel, it's like if they could have used the N-word, I think they probably would have used it, right? So this was, to me, you know what? I'm gonna play that one more time, since again, to me, it's a very powerful thing, because again, this system don't like American strong black males. You know what? I don't play it. I played it already on that. I'm going to play one last video, and I think this also makes a very hardcore point, because again, if this was American blacks that did this, then there is hell, and there's so much racial hatred. Damn, those black people always being criminals and being violent. But you say who's the most violent people again collectively? Hate crimes. It ain't anti-white. Don't think so. Go to hell with that tactic, right? It ain't anti-Hispanic, whatever that's supposed to mean, because it's Afro-Hispanic, so it ain't that. Anti-Jewish, go somewhere with that. Don't even come close to that. So they even insult that in the person's intelligence, trying to say that little idiotic little tactic, right? Anti-Native American, go somewhere with that. So the number one most hated group of people is American blacks. But you got people that don't want to talk about that, basically, right? And it's an insult, because it's like, damn, where's the numbers of many American black? Well, ain't gonna be that many anyway, but more numbers of American black folks to just say that part. Don't argue, don't fuss. And again, for the personnel who might be from different cultures and backgrounds, etc. Hey, thank you for taking listening, stuff like that. If you have open mind, definitely, that's great. If you don't, the different ones who listen to this and they don't have open mind, they try and play games, you can go somewhere with that little tactic, right? So this is the last video, because again, to me, this is a powerful one. On that one, give me 1 second here. Man, wow. Dang. Could you imagine if American blacks was doing this? This is at UCLA. But American blacks are the most violent, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. You heard that word? Oh, let me repeat that. Let me back. Not me repeat. Let me say that. Let me show that again. You heard that? You hear that word, didn't you? But golly, that's why that word needs to be destroyed. The N-word version. Look at this. Look at this violence. And it's supposed to be on college campus? People protesting the Israeli, Palestinian situation and going against, Israel is doing this and they need to do, the college needs to divest of the money, but at the same time, they don't talk about American blacks that have a generation of black pain. Mm-hmm. You see how whoever that one was from, you said that guy jumped right in front? You said that goes, don't you? Mm-hmm. Right? I'm just saying, for certain types of American black women, the ones, they don't get it yet. Just saying. And many of them many American black women, modern day, are heading for destruction, by the way.
This is Jim Crow segregation. Shame on UCLA. This is like Jim Crow era segregation.
What the?
Shame on UCLA. Shame on them. They're not like students in based on their ethnicity or political stance. Shame on UCLA. This is Jim Crow segregation. Shame on you.
You heard he said. He said this is like Jim Crow segregation. Ooh, boy, he should have been called the hell out. Well, can't be on this situation, but if this has been American blacks that heard this bullshit from his mouth, oh man, they would have led into him. You comparing Jim Crow segregation to y'all sitting there, whoever person there doing this managed type of criminality among each other, and you want to compare that to Jim Crow segregation when however number of their people weren't even in this damn country, let alone the very extreme few that was here, barely. The nerve of this piece of crap and piece of crap personnel that's similar to his thought pattern. Look at this. Chaos at UCLA after fights break out during anti-Israeli protests April the 30th. But American blacks are supposed to be sitting there concerned about this. And again, you heard that fool said, that's like Jim Crow segregation. The battiness of that nonsensical bull crap that fool said on that. So he thinks the Israel, the current that protest that was going on is compared to this right here, colored waiting room that was going on before his ass was born. That was going on before his parents even arrived their asses over here in America. The nerve of these people, the ones who do this bull, right? On this. So he thinks that it's comparable to this warning. Mauling, drain, trucking, and delivery wagons not allowed in this park and are prohibited by the city ordinance. Ben Campbell, Mayor, Negros keep out. And he think that those choices that they're making at those campuses, acting like monsters and stuff like that, between the two personnel that would be considered on the category of white, Palestinians would be considered white in a racial category, and a number of Israeli personnel who picked white in the first place as well be considered white. Do you see how that nonsensical stuff go? But American Black's supposed to jump into that. Get the hell out of here with that tactic. But again,
let us remember that we're not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
You already said they ain't brutalized. It's not black folks not brutalized because they're Muslim or Catholics, etc., etc. Not because some of them practice Judaism. I know very few. Not because they practice Christianity, but because they're black. So Malcolm X was utilizing this. How many pro-Palestinian, how many Arabs were in this? How many Palestinian Arabs in this country? Since it's only a 10% or less than 10% now. You see how that nonsensical stuff goes? And so that food they're talking about, oh, this like Jim Crow. Oh, that food can go to hell on a first class ticket. Oh, no, forget that. He can go on the top of a damn plane and go to hell first. You see the insult to that? This is like Jim Crow. So he wouldn't say that bullshit to a black person in their face, that bullshit, because the real ones would have checked his ass real fast. Who the hell do you think you are? How old are you again? 23, 24? Yeah, go tear your ass. Excuse my language. Right? On this. Colored. And he wants to compare that. He thinks that's comparison, right? The Israeli-Palestinian conflict. He thinks that is the same thing. Is that fool? He really that damn foolish? But again, they only do it because millions of American blacks allow this bullshit to continue, right? Of disrespect. Because American blacks, again, are the most openness collectively to other people and don't get it.
Peace, perhaps on your side, Maximal Scum. Yes, but not on ours. Permit me to inform you that an enemy which appears to be peaceful may in fact be merely biding its time.
Yes. And how many have been buying their time? Right? And the fruit of that buying their time is coming to fruition. And millions of American blacks don't get it. Millions of American blacks have been used. Many people have sat back and looked at see what American blacks have been protesting for so long of Generation Black pain. People have been observing. And then now you see more and more personnel doing more protesting. You said, where's all these people protesting 100 years ago? Like the American blacks. 50 years ago, where's all these people protesting left and right? Right? Quietness. It's quietness. So unfortunately, millions of American blacks, as I keep saying, and I will make sure this is on record, half a generation to one generation left before the overall complete destruction of the American black culture. Unfortunately. Yes. Yes. How many colleges again did not allow American blacks to go there? And again, how many colleges, the ones that did allow, was so minuscule, the number of American blacks that was allowed to go as colleges? Not because they weren't smart. Go to hell with that tactic. Go to hell with that tactic. Because of former segregation and egregious, however, number of anti-racial, racial racism, terrorism laws and policies against American blacks, that they did not want American blacks going to the same colleges and getting a type of education. This is why HBCUs were found. And by the way, please show what went before historical black colleges and universities that were founded by, was supposed to be founded, or should I say, let me phrase that was supposed to be attended by American blacks specifically, because they couldn't go collectively to white universities because they didn't want them there. So please show me where these other people were predating these HBCUs left and right. Please show me where this Israeli uh, um, Palestinian conflict that was going on before HBCUs were founded. Because it wasn't. Because they weren't around like that. They're not around here right like now. Again, the Palestinian Arabs only make up 10% or less than 10% of the entire population. And having their allies, depending where they're from, again, they're minuscule in their numbers. And the sad part about it, again, is millions of American blacks don't even realize the game that's being played right now. I mean, the number of protesting at the colleges and facilities, you got people that have the nervousness to sit there and feel sympathy for that, but will look crazy when you say, "Well, what about American blacks? We've been going through generational black pain. What about that?" Oh I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.